Hey everyone, today I'm showing you how to make this delicious stuffed polenta with a roasted red pepper sauce. This dish is decadent, comforting, and you're not going to want to share, but you're going to have to because it will fill you up fast. And don't forget, stay through to the end because I'm going to show you some storage tips and some food hacks for the ingredients that go along with this recipe. Oh, and along with those storage hacks, I have a myth to bust for you about peppers. So be sure to stay to the end because I'm going to tell you about peppers and how the green ones don't go from yellow to orange to red. So be sure to stay tuned for that too. This recipe is a wine pairing recipe. So it's made to go with a Pinot Noir. As you know, I like my wine green. So this is a SIP certified wine. What that means is SIP certified, they work with wineries, growers, people that are bottling wine to help them be more sustainable. So you should check out sipcertified.org because you can get lots of tasty, tasty green wine, just like the one I'm using in this recipe. Okay, let's make this polenta. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make our red pepper sauce. So you want to take your red peppers, cut them down, lay them on a baking sheet, and we're going to roast them in the oven at 450 degrees for about 30 minutes until they're just nice and charred. Once they're charred, toss those peppers into the bowl of a food processor and puree them until they're nice and smooth. You can remove the skins if you want, but honestly, I think you should just leave it on there. Okay, so you have that puree. You're gonna take that red pepper puree, add it to a saucepan. We're gonna add in some butter. We're gonna add in some garlic. We're gonna add in some sea salt. Also, like I said, stay through to the end. I got some storage tips for you. So bring that mixture to a simmer, and once the butter melts, then we're gonna add in our cream. Mix in that cream and then remove it from the heat. We're gonna take our fresh basil, put the leaves into the sauce, stir it all together, cover it, and just let it sit. So while those peppers were roasting, you could have made the polenta. So let's get to making that polenta. And there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can make the full polenta and then slice it in half and then stuff it, or you can do what I'm gonna do. I just make it in 2 batches because I found that unlike when you slice a cake in half, polenta, because it has some heft to it, can easily break. And so it's just easier to not do it that way. So we're gonna take a 9x9 square baking dish, and we're gonna line it with parchment paper. We wanna have that parchment paper cross and then hang over the edge, so that way when you pour your polenta in there, after it's stuffed and cooled, you can easily lift it back out. So prep your baking pan, and now you're gonna make your polenta. Okay, so first batch. Add your vegetable stock, the butter, and the Italian seasoning to a saucepan and bring that to a boil. Now you're gonna mix in your polenta and just keep that liquid moving while you're mixing in the polenta. The reason for that is you don't want it to just kind of form into a ball. So just kind of keep it moving, keep it cooking while you're adding that polenta to the boiling broth. When it's done cooking, and you'll know it's done, it'll be about 15 minutes. The polenta just kind of gets a little harder to stir. It's really thick, it's more porridge, kind of / oatmeal-like. You wanna take that polenta, transfer it to your dish, the 9x9 dish that has the parchment paper in it. You're gonna repeat that process, but before you do, you're gonna make your ricotta filling. So take your ricotta cheese, you want it strained, add in the spinach and some salt and mix that together. Now, what I like to do is I take that mixture, add it to a plastic bag, and then I pipe it over the first layer of polenta. There's a couple ways you can do this. You can do it where edge to edge, it's just ricotta, so it's kind of like a sandwich, like you have polenta, ricotta, polenta. Or you can leave a border in between the ricotta and the pan. So that way when you pour the next polenta on top of it, it will actually seal the ricotta inside. It makes it a little easier to pull out of the pan and to cut, so just whatever you like. I like the visual of having those sandwich layers exposed, so you do you. Okay, so you have that bottom layer polenta, you have your ricotta, now it's time for the next layer. So like I said, just repeat like you did before, bring that broth, butter, Italian seasoning to a boil, cook your polenta. When it gets really nice and porridge-like, go ahead and pour it on top of the ricotta. Spread it out so it's nice and even, and then you're gonna let it cool for about 10 minutes. At this point, if you started the polenta after you started roasting the red peppers, you would finish the red pepper sauce. By the time the red pepper sauce is ready, you're gonna be ready for some delicious stuffed polenta with the red pepper sauce. And I'm not gonna kid at all right now. This red pepper sauce is amazing. You might wanna make a double batch. I mean, because people are gonna fight over it. So here we are at just the tip part. Are you ready for some storage tips? Okay, first thing we're gonna talk about, spinach. Did you know, like with spinach, when you bring it home from the store, like we use frozen spinach in this recipe, but when you bring it home from the store, if you have fresh spinach, if it's in one of those like clamshell containers, put a paper towel on top of the spinach, and then when you store it in the fridge, flip it over. Store that way, your fresh spinach will last 3 times longer. Yeah, 3 times longer. Next thing is that butter, right? So you can actually stock up on butter because you can put butter straight in the freezer the way that you buy it from the store. You don't have to put it in a special container. You don't have to unwrap it. The only thing I suggest is that you maybe cut it up to the way that you use it. So if you, like, for example, are a big toast eater, and you put some butter on your toast on a regular basis and you want to keep the butter in the freezer longer, slice it up before you put it in the freezer because you're gonna have to wait for it to thaw otherwise, as opposed to just popping off a tab of butter. Basil. Use basil in this recipe. So for fresh basil and other herbs, the best way to store them is to store them like cut flowers. Put them in a jar with a little bit of water, and then most things can go in the fridge. Thyme, rosemary, those sort of things you want to just put straight in the fridge. If it's something that has like tender leaves like cilantro or parsley, put a bag over it and then put it in the fridge. Store that way, your fresh herbs will last up to 3 times longer. Now for basil, it's a little tricky. It doesn't like being in the fridge, so that you want to keep out on the counter or near a windowsill. You might have to put a bag over it too to kind of create a little bit of a greenhouse effect, but store that way. If you've had your basil go black on you, this is the way to keep it fresh the longest. Now let's talk about peppers. Okay, so there's this whole myth that when you go to the grocery store, that green peppers eventually become red peppers. That's kind of not mostly true. And the way I'm saying it that way is because, yeah, some peppers that start out green do end up red. Those are typically not the ones that are at the grocery store. And they definitely are not the ones that go green, yellow, orange, red. That's not the ones that you're buying at the store. So they're not the same pepper. It's different varietals. So there's this whole myth about that you're just buying the pepper at different stages. For the most part, you're not. If you want to get more information about this and really understand what's going on, just go look at any sort of seed magazine online. The people that sell the seeds for peppers, that's the thing. You'll see exactly, they'll show you, oh, they go green to yellow, they go green to orange, they go green, orange, red. So you can actually see what's going on there. So be sure to check that out. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Something you want to see, drop a comment down below. If you like to cook like I do, I release new videos all the time. See you next time.